30, it all breaks down to just that bass, again, laying the foundation over. And what's really nice about that part when it breaks down is you get the reverbed echo of the last chord of one of the guitars, and it just continues going through all the way as the bass is playing. And it's like an object in orbit without decay. Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Audiophiles. My name's John. His name is Andy.
Mm-hmm.
Went to a party, danced all night. I drank 16 beers and I started up a fight. But now I'm jaded. You're out of luck. As I'm rolling down the stairs, too drunk to. More on that later.
Wonder what came next.
But Andy, you got a tune for me. What have you got?
I have a track called Pale in Comparison, and it is by a band called Joyful Forfeit.
Okay,
Yeah.
good for you.
Well, thanks. I guess that's pretty much it. That's all we really needed. I just wanted some affirmation, so appreciate it. No, please go off. Give this thing a listen, come back, and let me know what you make of it.
Yeah, interesting start. We're sort of really into that sort of shoegazy bit. It sounds quite British shoegaze, like old school. Um, so you got this affected guitars, reverb and whatever else on it, all creating this sort of sonic layers. And then what you used to have was one clear guitar, which you could really just, discern amongst the murk that would carry the melody. And that was like a pretty successful trick, and I've got that there. When it was going high just then, kind of reminded me of I can't remember the name of it, but the opening track on Hope of the States album. I have to look at what it was. But yeah, that's interesting. Kind of reminded me of that a bit. Okay, let's see how it goes. Interesting. I just say the vocals completely ineffectual, which is just how they should be. Um, um, yeah, you haven't got a hope. But it's kind of nice, pleasant noise. You can kind of follow along to. Um, But yeah, this sounds so. It does sound like modern version of classic shoegaze, as I see it. Um, yeah, it just has that feel with the really clear, quite muscular drums, and you can hear some nice bass work as well. Whereas I guess stuff from like 1991, it's all merged into one wave of sound, as it were, almost. Um, this seems a bit more sort of clear on the production. So I guess it just sounds to my ears more modern. I don't know. We'll find out. But yeah, good stuff. That's nice. Yeah, that's nice. I like the breakdown because there was just that echo of the last sort of sustain of the guitar going all the way through it as that bass was playing, and then the drums kicked back in, the guitar to match the drum pattern, and then it went climbing again. Yeah, overall, it's a really nice, solid palette. What I like. Um, this sounds like someone who's really studied, My Bloody Valentine and others, and then taken that as a starting point and put his own sort of bit to it. Um, yeah, I like this. This is decent, interesting. I wonder if that is the one of the guys or the guy there. It's a one-man band. But Joyful Forfeit Music. Got to find out more. So let's go back. Chop it up with Andy.
All right, you're back. So, what did you make of Joyful Forfeit and their track Pale in comparison?
Hmm. So after a brief intro, just a few seconds of this kind of wobbling sound, which is the equivalent to somebody opening the lid on a jam jar of noise. We are straight into shoegaze territory. Ah, but this is not that stuff that Americans call shoegaze. This is old school, British sounding shoegaze with the heavy effects on the guitar to create these sonic layers underpinned by a muscular beat from the drums and that one clear guitar that really holds the melody amongst the muck
Mhm.
and murk. When the pitch rises on it, it reminded me actually of. Are you familiar with the band The Hope of the States? No
No.
reason why you would be. No. Their opening track to their album, The Lost Riots, is it's kind of a cult album, I guess. And their opening track is called The Black Amnesias, which is instrumental. The rest of the album, I don't think is. No, it isn't. But yeah, and it's got that sort of almost like a dramatic overture opening.
Yeah,
You may like it actually.
I think I might.
Um, hmm, Note for later. But yes, the way that the guitars rise and that is quite similar to some of the structure in that song as well, which is quite interesting
Mhm.
to me anyway. And there's seven other people who probably could remember that song. So in come your traditional vocals. When I say traditional, I mean low in the mix, we cast and lyrically ineffectual, which is just as they should be on
Yeah.
a proper shoegaze track. But I have to say, with vocals like these, it makes it all the more satisfying when you do decipher a word or two.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, I didn't, but I can imagine it would be very satisfying. But it doesn't take away any of the enjoyment from the song itself, and indeed the vocal performance pretty much fits the title because I can imagine the singer, sorry, is pale in comparison to most other people who live down his street. Um, I mean, it's because it's the way it's written. It's funny. I just
Yeah.
thought this the skinny white guy, a white kid, pale in
Not far
comparison.
off.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, so we get a couple of rounds of the melody, and at times I can hear some really nice bass work, but as is such with these things, I think really good shoegaze should be listened to live, and it's just a fucking mess when you do, but it's great. It's almost
Mm,
overwhelming. Um, as sonic sort of, bursts coming through and hitting you. Like the first time I heard shoegaze live was Ride, and I was about 15 foot from the stage. I think I was working that night at the club, and just hit me like someone had smacked me with a massive, large kipper in the face. I mean, it really did. It was great. Um, so yeah, within this mix, I was getting bits of bass work, which sounded great, but it kind of came and went in terms of how you could discern it.
mm,
Um, the lead guitar so it was climbing up and crashing down, and then the clearer one was mimicking it for a while. It was almost like a guideline for everybody else within the sort of the sort of fog or or whatever of shoegaze music. Um, to sort of, there's this one bit of orange string you can follow, and
mm.
that's the tune, and everything else is going around it. And I think that part there was the chorus. I mean, you normally can tell the chorus from the lyrics, but hey ho. And around 2:30, it all breaks down to just that bass, again laying the foundation over. And what's really nice about that part when it breaks down is you get the reverbed echo of the last chord of one of the guitars, and it just continues going through all the way as the bass is playing, and it's like an object in orbit without decay.
Mm,
Just it's just continuing, which is lovely. You get a couple of sort of choice notes which lead to the build up, the build back up part, which again, traditional on this. So the beat picks up, and then when the guitars kind of matches the beat with a sort of enthusiasm, and we get like a quick drum fill, and then we're onto the into the top of the gauge guitar warbling as the sonic layers sort of fill out again. A few more indecipherable lines, and then we're left with the echoing shadow of the tune for a few more beats, which is quite nice. Um, yeah, I really enjoyed this. I'm taking the piss out of it a bit, but I did really enjoy it. It's great retro sound, and in terms of, I assume it is American band, but clearly they've studied, amongst others, My Bloody Valentine, and they've taken that as a starting point, not just to pastiche, but to then try and make their own sound.
yeah.
Um, and that starting point, I heard a lot of in the early 90s, and this fits in with it, and it's great. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I thought you would enjoy this as well. And they only came on my radar a few months ago for the first time. And when I heard them, I'm like, oh man, this is definitely some throwback to
Yeah.
true, what I'll call true gaze. Uh and it is a kind of a breath of fresh air, especially considering they are so new
Mm.
as far as, getting on the map and producing music of their own and everything. So it was like really refreshing to hear that. And we've, talked, over the last few weeks and, honestly, since the channel has started, but more recently we've discovered these newer bands that are kind of like, affirming to hear them and to hear the sounds that they're working with and going with and striving toward. And this sort of fit the bill for me. And I thought, knowing that you like true gaze, that you would be interested to hear what they had to offer as well. So I'm glad you enjoyed it, as I
Yeah, yeah.
suspected and hoped that you would. A little bit about them, or really him, I should say. It's a solo project from a singer-songwriter, Cody Steve. Joyful Forfeit began in the fall of 2022 and is based out of Lancaster, Pennsylvania, just up the road here from Baltimore. Been to
Mm.
Lancaster so many times, I've lost track. But yeah, interesting that a place known for its Amish community would have an artist who is tapping into such sounds such as these in creating his own music. So yeah, hats off to him. Been to Lancaster, Godspeed, my friend. So yeah, they've been described as rock slash indie rock inspired shoegaze. Steve writes all the music and features guests to perform live or to be featured on his recordings. So I think, uh, from what I gathered, like going through some of the stuff that he's released, it really looks like drums is where he outsources a lot of the work. I think everything else is himself. Now, when he plays live, he's got to have everybody doing everything. But for sake of recording, I think this is mostly his brainchild, which is really inspiring as well. I think he's like 30 years old or something like that, and he's doing all this on his own out of God knows where in, Podunk, Lancaster. It's pretty awesome stuff
Mm.
to see him do that kind of stuff. So the band is currently signed to independent LA based label Neon Bloodbath Records. And this track released on October 22nd of 2024. So, what, a month ago, or a little over, and others will feature on the band's upcoming yet to be titled LP, due out in early 2025. So I'm looking forward to hearing that and what else it has to offer. Because from the couple tracks that I've heard, this is the second sort of single that he's released out that I believe will be part of this album that he drops. So yeah, looking forward to hearing what that has in store. The song's release was preceded by another single certain to feature on the upcoming LP, which was titled "No Better, No Worse." Um, Eduard Banilescu of Alt 77 reviewed the band's work and had this to say: "Joyful Forfeit likes to add pretty melodies in a way that few of their peers do. The band likes to integrate powerful lyrics, some of which we didn't catch, all of which, and that often these lyrics often touch on the drudgery of daily life. And there's a vision behind Joyful Forfeit, and it's carefully designed for maximum impact." Writing for White Light, White Heat, Fabrizio Lusso had this to say of Joyful Forfeit's music: "Equally noisy, ringing, and invigorating, certainly with no lack of heartfelt emotions. Joyful Forfeit's music scrapes and meanders through a vibrant nostalgic tapestry of crunchy riffs, echoing, sparkling, wistful melodies, and high-pitched, aching resonances, to glide and soar loosely over sad yet hopeful lyrics." He would add that Steve possesses an introspective and heartfelt melodic songwriting prowess that exudes emotions, pathos, and subtle disenchantment. And Karen Harding of Couch Mag also reviewed Steve's work as Joyful Forfeit and would opine, "This indie rock project blends post rock soundscapes with intimate emo inspired lyricism, resulting in a raw and vulnerable sound that is both haunting and beautiful. The warm and inviting vocals so beautifully express the haunting lyricism and sit within the ambience of the instrumentation, creating a truly immersive listening experience. Cody Steve's voice is inviting with a depth of vulnerability, delivering with raw emotional urgency. It's a distinctly modern take on indie rock, turning classic sounds into something new, exciting, and comforting. It's a little bit what you touched on before, like this. It's a modern take on a sound that we've heard before, with something new
Mm.
injected into it, while still offering the comfort of what came before, if you're familiar with it. So I think she's pretty much touching exactly on what you had mentioned as well. She would add, with influences like Death Cab for Cutie, Explosions in the Sky, The National, Slow Dive, and Radiohead. It's no wonder that Joyful Forfeit is capable of creating masterpieces of modern indie rock. So let's jump into these lyrics. I mean, I feel like it's a little redundant because I'm pretty sure you lassoed them all in and got a pretty clear understanding. But for the sake of how we do things here, let me go through the motions. It's a little too late for this. Locked out, so the panic hits. Hope this is a better fit. Can't sit back because you can't forget. So this is how you woke up here, like this, over and over, again and again. So this is how you woke up here, quite sore on the eyes. Ripped out of another's teeth, brash words that you can't retrieve. What's left when the glamour leaves? Fake crown, black clouds. So this is how you woke up here, like this, over and over, again and again. So this is how you woke up here, quite sore on the eyes. You lost yourself again. You lost yourself again along the way. You lost yourself again. You lost yourself again, but that's your thing. So this is how you woke up here, like this, over and over, again and again. So this is how you woke up here, quite sore on the eyes. So those are the lyrics to this very interesting song. It definitely sounds like you're in a place that you need to get out of. Or that's what he's expressing or lamenting. But who am I to know? I couldn't this guy, he's so new. It's not like there's I had to find this. I had to go on a deep dive to get a hold of these lyrics because I wasn't going to be able to translate them from what I could hear, at least most of them. So I was lucky to even have that. So to be able to find like a meaning of or anything like that is beyond me at this point. But it is a really intriguing sound, and having been through and spent a lot of time in small towns in rural parts of Pennsylvania, I can understand where he's coming from with this, and how this is, especially as like an aspiring artist and musician who just wants to get out there and tour and put his music out to the world. It probably feels a bit, even though it's wide open spaces, it probably feels a little claustrophobic and like you're alienated there. So it's no surprise to me that that is some of the subject matter that he touches on in his music. So glad you like this. Glad you gave it a listen, and hopefully there will be more from him in 2025, and I can tap into perhaps the other track that I alluded to here for a future listen. But yeah, appreciate you, John. Thanks for giving this a go, buddy.
My pleasure.
Excellent. Guys out there in the listening audience, please let us know what you thought of Joyful Forfeit and this track paling comparison. We really do appreciate your guys' perspective on things. Let us know if there's other artists or sounds that he's tapped into that we perhaps didn't mention here, or if there's other comparable music that we haven't touched on the channel that you'd like to offer up for one of our Friday episodes. We'd love to give that a listen as well. Also, while we have your attention, please like, share, and subscribe if you'd be so inclined. We really do appreciate it. It helps us grow a larger presence here on the YouTube channel. And so thank you, thank you. Also, a little programming note. Next week, the week of Christmas, John and I will be exchanging Christmas songs Monday through Thursday for one another, so two each. Friday will be devoted to regularly scheduled programming and a listener request that's offered up. Then the following week, which is the very last couple days in December and the first couple in January, those will be devoted to some chicanery that John has collated and put together of bloopers and, just shite talking between the two of us, that is sure to entertain.
Hey,
And
that's our regular episodes.
yeah,
Um,
really, it is. It is. It'll be our regular episodes without the music. So of course you guys will come in droves to check that out. And then the latter half of the week will be 3 episodes. My 3 favorite songs that John has offered up, John's 3 favorite songs that I've offered up, some, outside looking in nominations, discussions thereof. And then the final day will be devoted to that Friday will be viewer requests, but a viewer request from 2024 that we loved and put together and created a list, top 3 each, again with some honorable mentions. I'm sure we'll sneak in there. It's been a good year for listener requests, as was the year before. So please tune in, check that out, and enjoy your holiday break and all that stuff. And we will catch you in 2025 and beyond for more episodes of the Audiophiles. We'll see you later, guys.